Something is watching you. You cannot see it, you cannot hear it, but deep inside the jungle, something is always watching, always waiting. Today, we go in. Welcome. My name is not important. What is important is what you are about to learn. Today, we travel into one of the most dangerous, most beautiful, and most mysterious places on Earth, the jungle. But this is not a simple nature walk. This is a journey, a real journey. And along the way, you will learn real English, simple words, clear sentences, real meaning. By the end of this story, you will understand how the jungle works. You will know the animals, you will feel the danger, and you will hear English in a way that stays in your memory, not like a textbook, like an experience. Are you ready? Then let us begin. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a place where the trees are so tall you cannot see the sky. The air is hot and wet. Every breath feels heavy. The ground is soft under your feet. And the sounds never stop. Birds calling, insects buzzing, water moving somewhere in the dark. And underneath all of it, silence. A deep, living silence, the kind that makes you feel small. That is the jungle. The jungle is not one thing. It is thousands of things, all living together, all fighting together, all surviving together. It is the most complex living system on our planet. Scientists have studied it for hundreds of years, and they are still learning new things every single day. There are jungles on every continent except Antarctica. But the most famous jungle on Earth, the jungle that most people think of when they hear the word, is the Amazon. The Amazon rainforest. It covers nearly 6 million square kilometers. That is almost the size of the entire continent of Australia. It sits mostly in Brazil, but it also touches 9 other countries in South America. And inside this enormous green world, there are more living creatures than almost anywhere else on Earth. More than 3 million species of plants and animals live in the Amazon. 3 million. Scientists believe that 1 in 10 species on Earth lives there. And here is the remarkable part. Scientists think there are still thousands of species they have never found, species that no human has ever seen, no one has ever named, no one even knows they exist. The jungle keeps its secrets well. Now, let us walk inside. You step off the boat. The water behind you is brown and wide. The river is called the Amazon, and it is the largest river in the world by volume of water. Every second, the Amazon River pushes more than 200,000 cubic meters of water into the Atlantic Ocean. That number is almost impossible to understand. It is more water than the next 7 largest rivers in the world combined. But you are not here for the river today. You are here for what is behind it. You take 1 step into the forest, then another. The light changes immediately. Outside, the sun was strong and bright. In here, the light is soft and green. The trees above you are so close together, so full of leaves, that only 2% of sunlight reaches the ground. 2%. You are standing inside a living shadow. The temperature drops, not much, but enough to notice. And then the smell hits you. Wet earth, old wood, flowers you cannot name, a smell like the beginning of everything. Scientists actually study this smell. It has a name. The smell of rain on Earth is called petrichor. But inside the Amazon, that smell is permanent. The forest is always wet, always alive. You stop walking. You stand very still, and suddenly you realize the jungle is not quiet at all. Listen, can you hear it? A bird somewhere above you makes a sound like laughter, long, slow, rising laughter. That is the laughing falcon. It is not actually laughing, it is calling to its partner, telling it, I am here. Are you there? I am here. I am here. To your left, something moves in the leaves, fast, then gone. You look, but you see nothing, just green, always green. That was probably a lizard, maybe an ano lizard, small and quick, with skin that changes color slightly in the light. They are everywhere in the Amazon. Thousands of species of lizard live here, most of them so small, so fast, that you will never see them unless you stop and really look. Above you, something drips. A single drop of water falls from a leaf and lands on your arm. It feels warm. Even the water here feels alive. And then you hear it. A sound from deep inside the trees, low, slow, rhythmic, like a drum being played by something enormous. Your heart moves a little faster. That sound, that deep, slow boom coming from inside the dark green, that is a howler monkey.
The howler monkey is one of the loudest animals on Earth, not just in the jungle, on Earth. Their call can travel 5 kilometers through the forest, 5 kilometers, without any technology, without any help, just sound moving through the trees. When you hear a howler monkey for the first time, you do not think it is a monkey. The sound is too large, too deep, too ancient. It sounds like something that should be much bigger, something prehistoric. But howler monkeys are not that large. The biggest males weigh about 9 kilograms, about the same as a small dog. But that throat, that specially evolved throat, it creates a sound that fills the entire jungle. They make this sound for a simple reason. Territory. This is mine. Stay away. This forest, these trees, this food, mine. Groups of howler monkeys call to each other across the canopy every morning, before the sun is fully up, before most creatures are awake. The jungle starts its day with this sound, this deep, rolling, ancient sound. It is one of the most powerful sounds in nature. And right now, standing in the Amazon at dawn, you are hearing it for the first time. You breathe, you wait, you listen, and then, slowly, you begin to walk deeper in. The floor of the Amazon rainforest is a strange place. Most people imagine a jungle floor covered with grass, like a park. But that is wrong. There is almost no grass here. Remember, only 2% of sunlight reaches the ground. Grass cannot grow without light. Instead, the floor is covered with roots. Enormous roots spreading out from trees like the fingers of a giant hand. Some trees have roots called buttress roots, flat, wide walls of wood that spread out 2 or 3 meters from the base of the tree. They look like the walls of a cathedral, and they serve the same purpose as the walls of a cathedral, to hold something enormous upright. The trees of the Amazon are some of the tallest living things on Earth. Some reach 60 meters high. 60 meters is approximately the same height as a 20-story building. These trees are standing buildings made of wood and life, reaching for that 2% of sky. Between the roots, the ground is soft, rich with decaying leaves. Decaying means slowly breaking down, becoming part of the earth. Every fallen leaf, every dead branch, every creature that dies on the jungle floor, all of it slowly becomes soil, food for the next tree, food for the next generation. The Amazon rainforest recycles everything. Nothing is wasted, nothing disappears, everything becomes something else. In this way,
The jungle is perfectly efficient, more efficient than any human system ever built. You step carefully over a root. The wood is damp. A tiny red frog sits on it, perfectly still, watching you. You stop. That red frog is important. It is small, maybe 3 centimeters long, smaller than your finger. Its skin is the color of a warning sign, bright red with small black spots. It is beautiful. It is also one of the most dangerous creatures in the jungle. This is the strawberry poison dart frog, and its bright colors are not decoration, they are a message. In the animal world, bright colors often mean one thing: do not eat me, I will make you very sorry. The poison inside this small frog's skin is powerful enough to seriously harm a large animal. Indigenous people, the people who have lived in the Amazon for thousands of years, once used this poison on the tips of their hunting darts. That is where the frog gets its name, poison dart frog. But here's the fascinating part. These frogs are not born poisonous. Baby frogs have no poison at all. They develop their poison by eating certain insects that live in the Amazon, insects that carry the chemicals that make the poison. If you raise a poison dart frog in a laboratory far from the jungle, it never becomes poisonous. It stays harmless. The poison comes from the jungle itself. The frog just carries it. In this way, even the jungle's most dangerous creatures are deeply connected to everything around them. Remove the frog from the jungle, and it loses its power. The frog needs the jungle, and the jungle needs the frog. This is the first great lesson of the Amazon. Everything is connected. Nothing works alone. You watch the tiny red frog for a long moment. Then, carefully, you step around it and continue walking. It is now midday. The heat is at its strongest. Even here, in the shadow of the canopy, the air feels like a warm blanket. Your clothes are wet, not from rain, from your own body. You are sweating, and the air is so humid that the sweat does not dry. It just stays on your skin. Humidity. This is an important word. Humidity means the amount of water in the air. The Amazon rainforest has extremely high humidity, often above 90%. This means the air around you is nearly full of water. It cannot absorb much more. This humidity exists because of the trees themselves. Every single day, the Amazon rainforest releases an almost unimaginable amount of water vapor into the atmosphere. Scientists estimate that the Amazon creates its own weather. The trees breathe out so much water that they actually create the rain clouds that fall back on them. The Amazon makes its own rain. Think about that for a moment. This forest is so large, so full of life, that it controls its own weather. It waters itself. It feeds itself. It's like a living machine, so perfectly designed that it has been running for millions of years without stopping. And if you look up right now, past the layers of leaves, past the canopy high above, you can see the proof. White clouds growing and moving, born from the breath of the forest below. The sky is beautiful, bright blue with white clouds building slowly, moving towards you. In 2 hours, those clouds will break and the rain will come.
The Amazon receives between 2,000 and 3,000 millimeters of rain every year. To understand how much that is, imagine filling a bathtub completely with water. Now imagine doing that every single day. That is approximately how much rain falls in certain parts of the Amazon each year. But in the jungle, rain is not a disaster. Rain is life. When rain comes to the Amazon, the forest wakes up. Animals move, frogs begin to call, the rivers begin to rise, seeds begin to move, and the extraordinary process of growth, already happening every second of every day, accelerates. You hear it before you see it. First, a sound on the leaves above. Tap, 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 tap. Then faster. Then, all at once, a wall of sound as 10,000 drops hit 10,000 leaves simultaneously. Then the water begins to fall through the canopy, not like normal rain. The canopy catches the rain first, holds it, slows it down. By the time the water reaches you on the ground, it falls in large drops, widely spaced, almost lazy. The trees have already filtered it. You stand in the rain. You let it fall on your face. It is warm, like standing under a warm shower. Around you, the forest smells even more alive. That smell, petrogor, earth and life, grows stronger with every drop. And somewhere above you, in the canopy, animals are moving. You cannot see them, but you can hear the subtle sounds, rustling, dripping, the occasional sharp call of a bird. In the rain, the Amazon is not sleeping. It is more awake than ever. Let us talk about that canopy, because the canopy is where most of the life in the Amazon actually lives. When scientists first began studying the Amazon, they focused on what they could see, the ground, the rivers, the large animals. For a long time, the canopy was mysterious, difficult to reach, unexplored. Then, in the 1970s and 1980s, scientists developed new methods to study the treetops. They built platforms high in the trees. They used ropes and pulleys to travel through the canopy. And what they found changed science forever. The canopy of the Amazon is an entirely different world. Up there, 60 meters above the ground, there are creatures that never come down. Birds that were born in the canopy and will die in the canopy, having never once touched the ground. Insects that spend their entire lives on a single tree. Orchids that grow on the branches, getting everything they need from rain and light and air. Not soil, just air. These orchids are called epiphytes, plants that live on other plants, not parasites. They do not steal from the tree. They simply use the tree as a place to stand. They take their water from rain, their food from dust and insect material that lands on them. Epiphytes are everywhere in the canopy. Some trees are covered with so many epiphytes that scientists estimate a single large tree in the Amazon can support over 2,000 species of other plants and animals. 2,000 species on one tree. One tree is an entire ecosystem. The rain has slowed. The sky is lighter now. The smell of the forest is overwhelming in the most beautiful way. You sit on a root, carefully checking first for insects, because in the Amazon you always check first, and you rest. You drink from your water bottle, and you listen. From somewhere very close, you hear a sound you have not heard before. A soft, rapid knocking, almost like typing, very fast, coming from a tree about 10 meters away. You move slowly, carefully, and you look. There, on the bark of a tall tree, a bird, about 30 centimeters long, black and white, with a brilliant red crest on its head. Its beak hitting the wood so fast that it blurs. This is a woodpecker, specifically the lineated woodpecker, one of the most striking birds in South America. And right now, it is doing what woodpeckers have done for millions of years. It is drilling. That beak hits the wood approximately 20 times per second. 20 times per second. If a human moved their head that fast, the force would cause serious brain injury. But the woodpecker has evolved a system of bones and tissue in its skull that absorbs the shock. It is one of nature's most extraordinary engineering solutions. The woodpecker is looking for insects hiding in the wood, beetles, ants, larvae sleeping in tunnels beneath the bark. The bird can actually hear them. That precise, delicate beak taps and listens, until it finds exactly the right spot. Then it drills, and out comes breakfast. You watch for several minutes. The bird does not notice you, or perhaps it notices you and does not care. Here, in the deep jungle, Humans are rare enough that some animals have never learned to fear them. That thought is both wonderful and slightly humbling. Now we must talk about something that is perhaps the most important part of the Amazon, something that runs through the entire forest like veins through a body: the river system. The Amazon River is not one river. It is a network, a web. More than 1,000 tributaries, smaller rivers, flow into the main Amazon River. If you traveled every river and stream in the Amazon River system, you would travel more than 60,000 kilometers. That is 1.5 times around the entire Earth. These rivers are not just highways for boats. They are the arteries of the forest. They carry water, nutrients, seeds, and life from one part of the jungle to another. They connect everything. But the rivers of the Amazon are also remarkable for what lives inside them. The Amazon River contains more species of freshwater fish than any other freshwater system on Earth. Over 3,000 species have been identified, and scientists believe there are hundreds more yet to be discovered. Among those 3,000 species is a fish you may know by reputation: the piranha. The piranha has a reputation that is larger than the fish itself. Most people, when they hear the word piranha, imagine a feeding frenzy, a school of fish stripping a large animal to bones in seconds. They imagine something from a horror film. The truth is more interesting and also more reassuring. Yes, piranha have extremely sharp teeth. Yes, they are carnivores. They eat meat. Yes, large groups of piranha can be very dangerous, but in reality, piranha do not typically attack large, healthy animals. They are more like the jungle's cleanup crew. They eat sick fish, dead animals, and parts of food that fall into the water from trees above. They are part of the system, part of the recycling process that keeps the Amazon healthy. The species you need to respect, the one that gives piranha their fierce reputation, is the red-bellied piranha. It has a deep red or orange belly, strong jaws, and teeth like small triangular razors. A single red-bellied piranha is about 30 centimeters long, not large, but in a group of 200 or 300, which is how they often travel, they become something else entirely. Indigenous people who live along the Amazon River respect the piranha. They know where the piranhas gather. They know the times and seasons when the fish are more aggressive, usually during dry season when food is scarce, and they have lived alongside these fish for thousands of years, not by eliminating the danger, but by understanding it. This is the second great lesson of the Amazon. Respect what you do not fully understand. Learn before you act. You are walking now. The rain has completely stopped. The forest is brilliant, every leaf catching the light, every drop of water becoming a small mirror. You follow a trail, not a tourist trail, a trail made by animals, narrow, pressed into the earth by the repeated passage of the same creatures, night after night, season after season. You stop. In the soft earth ahead of you is a print, large, circular, with 4 toe marks and the distinct impression of a large pad. You know this print. Every person who has ever studied the Amazon knows this print. This is the track of a jaguar. The jaguar, Panthera onca, the largest cat in the Americas, the third largest cat on Earth after the lion and the tiger, a predator so powerful, so perfectly evolved that it has been the most feared and most respected animal in South American culture for thousands of years. The Aztec, the Maya, the Olmec, the peoples of the Amazon, all of them built the jaguar into their art, their religion, their stories. Some believed the jaguar could move between the human world and the spirit world. Some believed that shamans, spiritual leaders, could transform into jaguars. When you understand the jaguar, you understand why. A jaguar weighs between 50 and 100 kilograms. It can swim, it can climb trees, it can run fast over short distances and move silently through dense jungle for hours. It hunts during the day and at night. It can see in very low light. Its jaw is the most powerful of any wild.
The sound of the Amazon at night is overwhelming. Every insect, every frog, every night bird begins to call at the same time. The volume builds slowly, and then it becomes a wall of sound, a living, breathing, pulsing wall of sound that surrounds you completely. The katydid insects alone, chirping and buzzing in the trees above, can reach volumes that rival a sea street. They call to attract mates. They call to mark territory. They call simply because this is what they do. Between the insect sounds, the frogs, hundreds of species, each with a different call. Some sound like bells, some sound like dogs barking. Some make a sound like water dropping into a glass. One species, the Tungara frog, makes a sound so complex that scientists have spent years trying to understand how it works. The male calls and the female chooses. Not just any caller, the best caller, the most complex, most interesting, most precise caller. Even in the frog world, communication is everything. Deeper in the darkness, an owl calls, a single low note, then silence, then one more note. The spectacled owl, named for the rings of lighter feathers around its eyes, rings that look like glasses, sits motionless on a branch somewhere in the dark, watching the forest floor below with eyes that can detect movement in near total darkness. It is hunting. Everything here is always hunting, even while you sleep. Sometime in the deep middle of the night, you wake. You do not know why. You lie very still. You listen. Something is moving outside the mosquito net, something large. You can hear the leaves pressing, the soft sound of footsteps on the damp earth. Your heart moves faster. The footsteps stop. Very slowly, you turn your head. You look. In the darkness, two lights appear, two small, bright reflections low to the ground, about 4 meters from your hammock. Eyes, reflecting the tiny amount of starlight that reaches the forest floor. You do not move. The eyes move, slowly, horizontally, then they stop. For several seconds, there is no sound, no movement, just those two lights watching you. And then they are gone. The footsteps move away slowly, something large, stepping carefully through the dark. You never see what it was. You never know for certain. But those eyes were at the height of a large cat's head. The distance between them was the distance of a jaguar's face. You lie in your hammock. You do not sleep for a long time. But you are safe. The jaguar decided you were not interesting. Tonight, at least. Morning comes gradually in the Amazon. It does not arrive all at once the way it does in open places. It seeps in. First a lightening of the dark, then green returning to the black, then the first bird, singing before any light has actually reached the ground. Then the howler monkeys. That sound again, that deep rolling ancient call echoing through the trees. But now, after one night in the forest, it sounds different, not threatening, familiar. The jungle is waking up. It is calling its good morning. You emerge from your hammock. Your clothes are damp. Everything is damp. The forest breathes moisture even while it sleeps. You drink water. You eat something small. You watch the light return. And as the forest brightens, you see something you would have missed on your first day,
something that was always there but invisible until you learned how to look. Movement. Constant, tiny movement everywhere. The leafcutter ant is one of the most successful creatures on Earth, and it is everywhere in the Amazon floor. Right now, if you look down, really look carefully, you will see them. A line of ants moving from a tree to somewhere underground. But these are not ordinary ants. Each ant is carrying something, a piece of leaf, cut precisely from the tree above, carried in its jaws, held above its body like a small green sail. The line stretches. You follow it with your eyes. It goes on and on. Dozens of ants, hundreds, moving in perfect order, each one carrying its piece of leaf. Where are they going? Underground, into the nest. Leafcutter ant colonies can contain millions of individuals. Their underground nests can be 5 to 6 meters deep and stretch over 100 square meters. They are one of the most complex social structures in the animal kingdom. But here is the thing that makes them truly extraordinary. The leafcutter ants are not eating the leaves. They are farming. They take the leaf pieces underground and chew them into a paste. On this paste, they grow a fungus, a very specific type of fungus found only in leafcutter ant nests. They feed this fungus to their larvae, to their young. This relationship between the ants and the fungus is 45 million years old. 45 million years. The ants have been farming the same crop in the same way since before our oldest human ancestors existed. They are not intelligent the way we think of intelligence. Each ant follows simple chemical signals. But together, millions of ants, each following simple rules, they create something of extraordinary complexity. A civilization. This is the third great lesson of the Amazon. Great things are built by small pieces working together. On your second day, you find the river again. You follow it upstream. The current is gentle here. The water is dark, the tannin-rich dark water of a black-water tributary. On the banks, the roots of trees reach into the water. Birds sit on the roots, a family of giant river otters watching you from the far bank. Giant river otters, another creature whose name tells you exactly what they are. They are otters, they live in rivers, and they are giant, up to 1.5 meters long, which makes them the longest otter species on Earth. They are also incredibly social. They live in family groups. They communicate with each other using at least 22 distinct vocalizations, 22 different sounds, each with a different meaning. Scientists are still studying exactly what each sound means. The family on the far bank watches you. They are not afraid, they are curious. They make a soft chirping sound at you, like a question. Who are you? Where are you from? Are you friendly? You sit down on the bank. You stay very still. You just watch. One of the otters, a younger one, smaller than the others, swims to the middle of the river. It stops. It looks at you. It makes a sound. Then it dives, turning in the water with astonishing speed and grace, and comes up with a fish. It eats the fish in about 30 seconds. Then it looks at you again, satisfied. The afternoon of the second day brings something you did not expect. Not danger, not an encounter. Silence. A real silence, deeper than anything you have felt. You stop in a small clearing, a place where a large tree fell and created a gap in the canopy, flooding the ground with light. In this light, flowers grow. Real, vivid, extravagant flowers, purple and yellow and white. Orchids and others you cannot name. You sit in this light, this real sunlight, falling straight down through the gap in the canopy, warming the top of your head. And for a few minutes, the forest is quiet. Even the insects pause. Even the birds are still. Just light. Just warmth. Just the smell of earth and flowers and life. And in this silence,
you understand something you did not expect to understand. The jungle is not only danger. The jungle is not only struggle. The jungle is also this beauty, this quiet power, this enormous, breathing patience. The Amazon has been here at least 10 million years. Scientists believe the Amazon basin began forming in its current shape approximately 10 to 15 million years ago, as the Andes Mountains rose and redirected the rivers eastward. It has survived ice ages. It has survived meteorites. It has survived volcanic eruptions. It has survived everything that nature could throw at it. The only thing that has come close to defeating the Amazon is us. Let us talk about this honestly, because a documentary about the Amazon that does not talk about this is not honest. The Amazon rainforest is in danger, not from jaguars, not from anacondas, not from any of the extraordinary creatures we have talked about today. The danger comes from outside the forest. It comes from human decisions. Deforestation. This word means the cutting down and clearing of forests. Since the 1970s, approximately 17 to 20% of